Hey guys, welcome to Interesting Points. If you were expecting Josh Poyer's face, I am sorry for my face. But if you had no expectations or knew I was guest hosting the show tonight, then there's nothing to apologize for. Hi, my name is Rachel Jane Edelman, and I am guest host for Tuesday night, this night, September 15th. Interesting Points. Josh had something to do. We didn't ask any more questions. Interesting Points, if you've never seen this show, is a panel show. Some would say it's in the style of the classic British panel show. Some more pedantically may or may not point out that there are differences between this show and British panel shows. But in any case, it's a bunch of interesting, funny people, and we're going to have some fun times together. So without further ado, let us introduce the panel. First up, he has been my improv teammate. He has directed me. We have eaten across many different tables from here to Las Vegas. Give it up for John Serpico. Boop, 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 boop. Next up, our second panelist. They're wonderful. They are my co-player teammate in the 69 show. If you've seen that, this Friday is another iteration of that show where we talk about sex and how our sex is like things. They're also a talented and accomplished stand-up. Give it up for Kendra Dossie.
Hi.
This really should have music under it, but just imagine it. Put some music in your head and play it while we with each other. Third up, she has a commanding knowledge. Maybe we'll hear about it today of Heathcliff, as well as comics in general, and a horrifying thing a horrifying amount of knowledge regarding various Wikipedia entries. Give it up for Brandy Brown.
Hello.
Hey.
I can't tell if my energy is too big for the screen. Anyway, last but not least, we have a talented writer, creator, joke teller, artist. Give it up for Justin Kusan.
Well, hey,
Justin, are you wearing a tuxedo?
I'm sorry, I just got back from a Zoom wedding. No, she said she changed her mind. Let's not talk about that.
Let's not talk about it. When I saw you, I'm like, oh no, we didn't establish a dress code. Justin's way more well dressed than the rest of us. But anyway,
Gotta be fun. It's a good time. It's a good time here.
cool. I heard all of that. So Interesting Points is a show where we talk about things that we are passionate about that are not guilty pleasures, although some may perceive them to be. And also at the end of the show, we'll try to trick you. We're gonna. Let's see. We're going to go straight into the first part of the show, a segment helpfully called Banter. The banter is regarding the theme of the show, which we, I believe, to the form of this show, we sort of pick up and then drop for most of the show. But we will establish the theme at the top, which in this case is replacements, as I have replaced our dear, not departed, just elsewhere host, Josh Poyer. So we're going to talk a little bit about the idea of replacement substitutions, what it means to us. What does it remind us of? And Brandy, why didn't you start? I'm looking at you now.
I mean, it depends. I guess my replacements, sometimes it's just whoever's around. Whatever's around, you're just like, I can't have my first choice, and they're out of everything else. They're out of the soup you want, and they're out of everything else. So you're like, you know what? I can't get any Purell. I can't get any alcohol to disinfect. What do you have? Cat litter. Sure, I'll put that on, and it'll clean the surface. You hope. I don't know. A lot of times you are not happy, and you just improvise. So I guess it makes sense that I'm with a bunch of improvisers. And sometimes replacement is you did some shit you weren't supposed to do. But so now someone else, you got canceled and someone else got hired. It just depends. There's so many reasons. Sometimes good replacement, sometimes bad replacement, sometimes forced replacement, sometimes it's just substitution. And you're like, I don't like that sauce. Replace it with something else.
I want to circle back very briefly. We don't have to linger on it. Have you used cat litter for cleaning? Is that effective?
For soaking up cat piss, yeah, definitely. It's very effective for that. As its intended purposes. I have actually substituted the clay litter for a mix of the world's best litter, which is lavender scented, the one I use, and some walnut shreddings for my sweet Claudette cookie lion. That's her name.
It's really the world's best. Does it live up to the name?
It is pretty. If you mix them together, they're pretty absorbent, and it clumps without all that dust.
So when I was in college, I thought that Rolling Rock was like the classy beer. And now that I'm an adult, I thought Feline Pine was the classy cat litter. And in both circumstances, I have been proven wrong now that I have added information. I didn't know lavender was even possible in this economy.
Yeah, I mean, they have different kinds. They have the non-scented multi-clumping, but I like the lavender. It gives a little scent.
Well, that's thank you. I didn't expect to learn so much about cat cleaning already. I feel so much smarter and really better as a human being than I did when I started. Thank you, Brandy. Kendra, what for you does replacements or substitution mean for you?
It means replacing people close to me. I love replacing my loved ones with copies of themselves. I have had 3 different dads. Not because like my mom kept marrying people. I just kept replacing my dad. I was like, let me get a new dad. Let's see what happens. My original dad's still out there somewhere. I love being a replacement. I love being a rebound. I love what else? I love Replacements, the band, but like I also like being replaced and disposable for people, and I like disposing of friendships and relationships. So that's what replacement means to me.
Cool. I think we have the same attachment style.
Yeah, this is completely normal. This is fine. I am doing great in my life. I'm
Yeah.
normal.
You know what? It's people who have like long-lasting relationships. It's like, come on, get a life, guys.
It's like, where's the variety? Where's the lack of connection with other humans? You know, like, what are you doing?
Those are some hills over there. Why don't you run to them? Is there a particular memory you have of being someone's replacement that like, because you're like, I love being a replacement. Was there something you had in mind?
I think I've been like asked to be on a show if someone can't make it. I guess, I mean, that's replacement isn't quite the right word for that. But yeah, I'm replaceable. I've been married for 13 years and now I feel bad. That's what I want. That's what I want out of the show. I want people with love in their life to feel bad. That's great.
Well, we're already doing it. Thank you, Kendra.
Thank you.
Excellent rumination on the notion of replacements. John Serpico, you're next. I like to go to you next because you're one of the most stable people I know. So I want to hear what replacements mean to you. The man who I feel decided what he loved and didn't like as soon as he was capable of the cognitive capacity to do so.
It's nice to have a plan, you know. Also, I'm on the Petco website, and you can get a 28-pound bag of world's best cat litter, lavender scented, for like under $20. And you know what? That's my new plan. My new plan is I'm going to replace Feline Pine. But no, in all seriousness, you know, replacement for me, I always look at it in terms of like the process and the plan and stuff. And if you are putting in a replacement, it means that something was planned and then the plan changed. A part was supposed to work and now the part doesn't work anymore. You got to replace the part. An actor was supposed to go on stage and they twisted an ankle and now an understudy has to. And everyone in the audience groans when they say, oh, Meryl Streep will not be on tonight. You know, there's an old adage in boxing, which is like everyone has a plan until the fight starts. And you know, so for me, replacement always represents, we had a plan. This was going to be great. Everything was going to work. However, something terrible happened. And we have to all pretend like this replacement's going to work out just fine. And, you know, so when you have to replace the primary thing with a new secondary thing, there is this kind of mass hypnosis that needs to happen where everyone starts talking about how excited they are for this new and exciting thing.
To be clear, when I wrote the email earlier today and I said I'm very excited to host, I meant it.
The host of this show has nothing to do with my philosophical treatise. It was a lateral move in excitement. Oh man, I get to hang out with Josh. Oh man, I get to hang out with Rachel. Equal, totally.
Phew. John, thank you for, again, your ruminations on replacements. I think the idea that everyone has a plan until the football game starts is true. And we just watched a bunch of people draft a football team, and who knows whether any of those choices would have worked for their imaginary team. Thank you, John. Justin, you and your beautiful, perfect cat are next. I do need to ask you to put the cat back in frame if it's possible.
Unless he'll be back. He does as he pleases. It's his house, so.
I see. So you're like a squatter.
Very much
cool.
So.
Cool.
He inherited it.
Oh,
we're talking about replacements now. Is that the theme?
Yeah, I think that we are slightly out of sync, so we're going to have a lot of hilarious and audience-friendly misunderstandings about whose turn it is. But anyway, Justin, now it is explicitly your turn to talk.
Love the glitchiness. I'd like to give a big shout out to Verizon Fios Internet, an internet service I have no intention of replacing anytime soon. I had no choice in the matter. I attempted. They said we can do something about your internet. So as far as replacements go, I do enjoy a good replacement now. Yeah, every now and then. Big fan of, Ringo Starr, good replacement over there. Don Cheadle, big fan of Don Cheadle. And I guess I'll propose a replacement meme based question to everybody in the group. Are we all familiar with the 2008 independent film Iron Man?
I've not seen it, but I can deduce the events in it based on subsequent films.
I can also give this to the viewers. So this is a survey question for everybody. Has anybody seen the 2008 film Iron Man?
Yes.
All right.
I think I have, technically.
Because there's a scene in the film Iron Man in which the character of James Rhodes at the time played at a Iron Man suit, a suit of armor, if you will. And the audience is led to believe that he's about to suit up and take action as the hero known as War Machine. He looks at the suit, looks to the audience and goes, "Next time, baby." Now, in between films, Terrence Howard was replaced by Don Cheadle, who would subsequently suit up as this character. Now, what I want to know is, if I send somebody a GIF of Terrence Howard looking at the suit and saying, "Next time, baby," does that in fact mean A, next time, baby, sincerely, B, definitely not, or C, I'm not going to do it, but Don Cheadle will?
I mean, for folks that have seen Iron Man and heard about that stuff, I think the whole picture is clear. It's like someone setting themselves up, and then ultimately they're going to get disappointed, but they don't know it yet. That's a lot of lifting that the phrase "next time, baby" really means in that circumstance.
I mean, listen, Terrence Howard got kicked out of his engineering class at Parsons for getting into an argument with his professor about 2 times 2 or 2 times 1 equaling 2 or something. Like it. I mean, he's never going to be in there. If you know anything about Terrence Howard, you're just like, oh, someone was telling him next time just to shut him up. That's what I believe when I see Terrence Howard doing anything. He's not going to be Iron Man. I mean, Iron Man needs to know basic multiplication. That's just science.
Oh boy. I was just thinking a similar thing happened in Hannibal. I don't know if anyone's watched Hannibal. If you've seen Hannibal, you know that the pig baron was played by 2 different actors. It was Michael something. The guy, the beautiful.
Love him.
Pardon?
Michael something. Love him.
Love him. Michael something is so good.
I love all Michaels. All Michaels should be.
All Michaels. But he was very difficult to work with apparently, and that character gets mutilated, like his face gets mutilated, and for the next season they just got a new guy, and you're wondering, like, did Michael something know that anyone could play this character going forward, or was he like banking on him not being replaceable? And that's something that I've been staying up late thinking about.
It's kind of related, but I love kind of the Hollywood stories of the actors that were like the second choice for big parts. Like Tom Selleck was almost Indiana Jones. Yeah, like I think John Krasinski was like the second choice for Captain America. And so like there's an alternate reality very similar to ours in which like Tom Selleck was Indy, and that's kind of cool. Like there's stories like that all over the place. And it's not like what's that?
I just think it's like, what would be different if Tom Selleck were Indiana Jones? I don't think it would.
Yeah, like if this is true, what else is true? Would Magnum PI have happened? And if not for Magnum PI, like would there be more or less people that moved to Hawaii from the mainland? Like there's a snowballing butterfly effect that we can't possibly conceive of. Like, what's the divergent point from our history? Is it the Tom Selleck?
Who would sell reverse mortgages to old people who are gullible? I mean, would that be Harrison Ford?
Oh my God.
Yeah. What the heck?
Who in that circumstance would be robbing old people of equity in their homes? Jeez. So yeah,
That's a good
someone has to be
question.
Earth's greatest villain there.
Here's my theory, guys. Okay, I just thought of it, but I think it makes perfect sense. The reason that Harrison Ford keeps driving helicopters and crashing them, or like biplanes, he keeps like flying and like crashing them, even though like he's like not good at flying, but he keeps doing it, and he keeps like landing in people's like backyards. I think the reason he's doing it is on a cellular level, he knows that this was not the correct timeline he's supposed to be following. Tom Selleck was supposed to get that role, and ever since he just felt wrong. And this is how he like punishes himself on a subconscious level. He keeps like crashing his biplanes.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that? I think I'm right.
It's like some kind of existential penance that he must pay by slamming himself into the earth again and again.
And every
It's
time
like
he survives.
It's like a multi-dimensional form of self-harm. Like,
Oh, yeah. Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's enough.
Justin, I couldn't hear you. I'm sure it was amazing. Could you say it one more time?
No, I just said not being able to die. You know,
I didn't know.
what we need on the live stream.
Cool. So that was the banter portion. I hope everyone feels bantered up. Let's see how we're doing on viewers. 14 beautiful people, each of you more handsome and smart than the last. Now we're going to move on to phase 2, as the Marvel people would say. We're in phase 2, guys. They all have children. Phase 2 of this show is, of course, Prove It To Me. The part of the show where we explain what we're an expert in, and then like prove that you're an expert in it. Personally, no offense to Josh, the copy for this section seems a little aggressive. Like, and then you have to prove you're an expert with 3. Like, and just like, yeah, we'll just explore your expertise for a little bit, and then we'll move on. So, Kendra, you can go first. What is something that you are an expert in, and tell us a little bit about it.
so I am an expert in knowing the drama that goes on. I'm an expert in Justin fluffing up his hair. No,
Had a rough.
I'm an expert in knowing the drama that goes on during the productions of animated series. And my proof is, look at me. Do I look like I have anything better to do with my life than look up like how exactly Total Drama Island was produced? Like, no, I'm doing nothing. But I could prove to you. Okay, so I recently watched Total Drama Island, which a few people may remember from 2007. I love being retro, you know, I like throwbacks. I watched it and I didn't like it. I was like, wow, the character design is ugly. And then I looked it up online, and I'm gonna get canceled. Gonna get canceled by whoever did the character design to Total Drama Island. You could look it up; it's ugly. But I looked up online, and apparently,
Yeah, I was 17.
What'd you say?
Then I tried. I was 17.
I was 15. But now I am 28 watching it. I looked it up online. And there's like a quote from the guy who did the character design that was like, first of all, the quote starts with, "I'm sorry." Like, he apologized for the character design because everyone was making fun of him. He's like, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry for ruining cartoons for you. I was just trying to imitate Clone High's character design, which is an older series that was on MTV and is good. It's all on YouTube. You should watch it. Also, it's getting rebooted." But he was like, "I was just trying to imitate Clone High's character design. I'm sorry I ruined animation for everyone." And he was right to say it. He was right to apologize, and that's my proof.
Now, was this apology like passive aggressive, like sorry I ruined all the animation, or do you feel like he was like legitimate?
It was probably passive aggressive, but it shouldn't have been.
you're like, I know you're being sarcastic, but also like I'm taking this as genuine because like that's what it should be.
Yes. It was like on 4chan or Reddit, like there was like a like ask me anything and people just attack. Like it is rude that people attacked him, like, you know, because it is work designing, like character design is work even if it's poorly done, you know? So like it's rude that people were attacking him, but it was also just kind of funny.
Wow, I am so glad. Besides the strain on my wrist, I'm so glad I'm not an animator or character designer. Sounds like it's just a lot of public scrutiny.
Yeah. There's a lot of angry nerds like me that
you're like, I'm specifically the problem.
It's mostly me. I mean, yeah, this is what I'm an expert in. I'm not good at anything else. I'm an expert in this, and then like memes. I'm not useful to society. So.
Okay, well, I respectfully disagree, but thank you, thank you for the expertise that you shared with us. Thank you, Kendra. Awesome. We learned so much about Total Drama Island, and its cursed character designs and the feelings behind them. Awesome. Next up, I think we're gonna do. I feel like I have to call on Brandy because you're the only one who's muted, and it's funnier that way. You're the only one who's not prepared at all. So we're gonna go with you next. Brandy, what are you an expert in? I thought it'd be funny.
I thought Brandy was about to start doing sign language for us, and that kind of would have ruled.
That would have been amazing. Is Brandy okay? Brandy's having some technical issues, so we're going to move on. I thought it would be a funny. It's obviously a real technical issue, so we'll move on. So, John, you're up next. What are you an expert in? What do you want to tell us about?
So, you know, when you shared that the topic today was kind of replacements, I kind of like free associated. I'm like, okay, what am I sort of an expert in that has something to do with replacements? And the thing that immediately sprang to mind was the General Motors ignition switch recall, which was an event in which ultimately 30 million General Motors cars needed to be recalled and have their ignition switches replaced and this is horrible, because of a faulty ignition switch, the car would occasionally turn off at high speed, meaning that airbags wouldn't deploy if the car that was off was sailing down the highway. Resulted in 124 deaths, and it was awful. It's an indictment of modern capitalism. It's truly disgusting. And then I went down a whole rabbit hole. Like I wrote a paper about it once, and I started pulled that up. And after a good solid 45 minutes of getting my thoughts in order, I'm like, Interesting Points is a comedy show. And so instead, I'd like to briefly talk about the 2000 movie, The Replacements, starring Gene Hackman and Keanu Reeves. It was really fun. It was a super fun sports movie, but it ran like a heist movie because the movie The Replacements was about a bunch of replacement football players going in because of an NFL labor strike, and it mirrored the events of 1987. That was the last big NFL football player strike, and a bunch of replacement players came in 1987, and in this 2000 movie, Gene Hackman, the coach, puts a group together of all the people live on houseboats and work regular jobs and stuff, and they build. Houseboats. But they build a team, and they win a couple games. But honestly, it played a lot like a heist movie. A group of people with really, really precise skills got together, didn't originally like each other, eventually liked each other, eventually won some games. So very, very charming. It's the easy listening of movies. And so I guess by extension, the thing that I'm, for sake of this, an expert in is sports movies and formulaic movies generally. So yeah, I think that's that.
So,
hey John, those guys in real life?
What's that?
You know what happened to those replacement guys that the movie's based off of?
Presumably, they never played football again because they were trying to break union power.
They're still trying to get their Super Bowl rings.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
because wasn't it Washington? They were Washington players, right?
Replacement team went 3-0, and that was crucial to them making the playoffs. They won the Super Bowl, and the replacement guys are still trying to get their
That's
Super Bowl.
right. Yeah.
Teammates, like the non-replacement players, are mostly in it, but they can't do anything about it.
Wow.
Well,
yeah.
Not to be a downer, but it sounds like this movie is about scabs.
It is definitely about
It's
scabs. This
absolutely
movie is. Yeah, this movie is, on the surface like a light, fun sports movie, but it's strongly anti-union, and scabs should not be protagonists in movies.
So what you're telling me
Yeah.
is that movies are created by a series of different unions. So we had all of these union guys working on this scab movie. I can't. Do you know if there was like tension on set, like just from like the resentment and frustration of the
Yeah.
plot matter?
I'm with you, comic 1717.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Keanu's a precious scab. That's the thing. I don't think so. I think I think it wore enough of the trappings of a lighthearted sports movie that kind of the union sound engineers and stuff kind of ate their union designated lunches and cashed their generous union paychecks and said, all right, fine, but I'm not going to light it super good. I'm not going to mark up the sound super tight,
Yeah. You're like that movie could have won an Oscar, but they all did like slightly subpar work.
Yeah, they all shaved off a little bit of the edge instead of going all the way.
Cervico, thank you. Thank you for pivoting from your subject matter. That would have been very hard to riff off of. So I appreciate the decision making you just demonstrated. Thank you. Brandy, are you all good technically now? Oh no.
Oh no.
I really like the bit that Brandy's doing, and I wish I came up with it.
Oh, we're all doing our own bits, Justin.
Wait, I wonder if something's not plugged in. I want to hear what Brandy has to say, because it's so. Now I'm like, what is she saying?
A steak pie.
It's a mystery. It's like a Silent Bob thing, but it's actually good.
Comic Josh writes, the fact that they had a giant inflatable rat as key grip should have keyed people in.
1717, where's your square?
Actually, as a quick aside, while Brandy kind of unplugs and plugs back in, I exist because of a union job action. My parents met on a picket line. They both worked in a department store, and they were union employees, and they were fighting for higher wages. They met on the picket line, and years later, I was born with incredibly strong collective bargaining leanings.
Listen to John's story. If you want to get laid, join a union. Other things may happen, but you'll definitely have a child who may or may not look exactly like John Serpico. Thank you so much, John. Brandy, can we hear you?
Can you?
No.
Yeah, we can.
Know what's going on with this.
Hell yeah.
Trying to diagnose it. All right. I'm an expert in first pets, like presidential pets, and actually just animals in the White House. And I don't know, it's a lot of chaos. There's a strong history of possums as pets, which is really weird. Like at one point in American history, people would send Taft possums like in the mail. Like you could send live animals in the mail, so people would send possums to him. And at one point during his administration, a possum was sent in the mail, and then it got out and like ate all the mail in like the mailbag.
That's a federal crime.
Yeah, and it became a thing where like people would like he ate possums at like a possum dinner. Like that's how they would pander to black people in the South because like black people ate possums, and so they would have possum. Like he had Booker T. Washington over, or maybe this was like not him, but it was one of the presidents around that time. But like possums became a thing for Taft specifically. And people would just send him live possums, dead possums. He had like how Roosevelt had the teddy bear. Taft, I believe, had Billy Possum, which was like a stuffed possum that did not become a thing. Also, my favorite sad presidential pet story is Andrew Johnson. Andrew Johnson was like sad, and when he was doing his impeachment, he befriended some mice. This is like the actual thing, and he like just fed them like wheat and cheese, and they were his friends. Like they were just mice, and they weren't like his official like domesticated pets. He was like, these are my friends now. And then my other favorite one is John Quincy Adams' wife Louisa. She was pretty lonely, but she had some silkworms, and she like befriended them, which is just she had depression, if that isn't clear. And I could say that because I have depression. But yeah, you could send pets through the mail. So Truman, for example, someone just sent him a puppy, and I think it was like a Springer Spaniel or something. And he was like, I am not going to keep this puppy. So he gave it away. And it became a whole thing in America. It's like, how could you give away the free puppy that someone sent you? And he's like, what? But my favorite presidential pet thing, by far, hands down, is involving one Martin Van Buren. Martin Van Buren got into a fight with Congress because the like someone in Oman, like the king or the like, I don't know, the sheik or whatever, he gave Martin Van Buren 2 tiger cubs. And Martin Van Buren's like, cool. And instead everyone's like, oh, obviously these will go to a zoo. Martin Van Buren's like, I'm keeping them at the White House. And Congress was like, no, Martin, you can't keep tiger cubs at the White House. He's like, I'm keeping them at the White House. And then Congress had to get into a fight with Martin Van Buren because Martin Van Buren's like, it's a gift to me, my tigers. And Congress is like, gift to America, America's tigers. And obviously America won. But Martin Van Buren also kept an alligator in the bathroom at the White House. Like, there's a lot of Dr. Doolittle shit going on that we do not talk about as a people. Who else? Silent Cal, Calvin Coolidge had like so many pets. He had a pet raccoon named Rebecca, and him and his wife would like carry it around. They went to South Dakota. They would have vacations with Rebecca. But my favorite Calvin Coolidge thing, my favorite Calvin Coolidge thing is that Calvin Coolidge, okay, the National Press Club president was this guy named Nathan Timmons. And Nathan Timmons had a cat named Timmy. And Timmy, like back in the day, he would take his cat to work. Just like it would just hang out with him at the press club, at the White House. And the cat would like travel on trains with him. So Timmy the cat was at work. And Silent Cal had a bird. And somehow, I'm not making any of this up, the bird and Timmy the cat became friends. And Calvin Coolidge was like, and there's a picture of this I can find. Calvin Coolidge was like, oh, my bird and your cat are friends, so just take my bird. They're best friends. I don't want to split them up. Like, it was so much Dr. Doolittle shit happened. I don't even want to get into it. We're not even getting up to like Socks the cat, who apparently Hillary Clinton at the inauguration in '93, she had a clutch made of Socks the cat that she took to the inauguration. It was shaped like a cat. And we don't talk about this. An underrated Clinton scandal. The Clinton administration got in trouble because kids would write Socks the cat letters, and then they would use official letterhead to respond to like the cat. And that was a big Clinton scandal.
That's like the least bad thing that the Clintons have done.
Yeah, it was incredible. My one conspiracy theory, though, is that Socks the cat definitely had Buddy the dog killed. I am not. What? That is me. Because here's what happened. So Socks the cat was in the White House. By the way, Barney Bush, greatest first pet ever. I'll talk about that at a different time. But okay. Socks the cat was, the darling of the Clinton administration. And then suddenly they had to, like, the secretary was spending more time with them. So they gave Socks to the secretary, and Socks lived a great life there. But then the Clintons got Buddy, when they got rid of socks, and then suddenly within like a year or something of them being out of office, Buddy got hit by a car. It's like, obviously Socks was not pleased, put a hit out on him. I mean, that is my one Clinton conspiracy. Like, obviously Socks put a hit out on Buddy. But yeah, presidential pets. I can go on forever. I didn't even cover most of it.
I feel like we all have so many questions and we have to move on. I just want everyone to soak in just as what happened.
I have a Twitter thread. Grady has a Twitter thread, everyone.
Like, just super quick.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that. You know, for me, when Richard Nixon, when things were falling apart for Richard Nixon, like in my mind, I always imagined that like his dog Checkers like stopped a world war, because like there are biographies about Nixon that's like when it was very clear he was going to get impeached, he started like speaking despondently about launching nukes and stuff. And I imagined that like Checkers was the one that talked him down. And in my mind, I'm like, that's the wildest thing that must have ever happened in the White House involving pets. And tonight I learned that does not crack the top 20. And for that, I am so pleased.
Yeah, I mean, Martin Van Buren alone.
Yeah.
Like,
good for Van Buren.
I have a theory that like a nerdy right-wing history buff is reintroducing possums in the Postal Service to just jeopardize everything. That's what I feel like. All the postmen are just dealing with like 40 possums eating
the Library of Congress has like a whole page of just like presidents and possums. Like, it's a whole thing.
Guys, I'm gonna ask Matt Artek to find that page and put it up when he finds it. While Matt's doing that, Justin, I believe you're the one person who hasn't gone. So feel free to keep it as long or short as possible. Just know that everyone at some point needs to go to bed, but we want to hear from you as well. So, Justin, what are you an expert in?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear any of that. Everyone is what now?
Everyone wants to hear what you have to say, Justin. What's going on?
My expertise is in forgery, which is really dumb. Before I did comedy, and actually as like a side gig throughout, I worked as a memorabilia and autograph authenticator. And so one of my weirdest talents / expertise is I can tell you if an autograph is genuine or fake with about 95% accuracy just by examining a document. But also, in order to identify whether or not something is real or fake, I had to learn how to forge myself. And so, like, for example, this is Audrey Hepburn's handwriting. I could give this. This is exactly what Audrey Hepburn's handwriting looks. I can do Audrey Hepburn's handwriting from memory, along with a number of historical figures, mostly athletes, politicians. Let's see if I have one hand. I just did Elton John the other day because So like I work right now. My gig is I do illustration work and pop culture trading cards. So like here's a card I did of Elton John at Dodger Stadium with a fake signature on it, but the signature is mine and would pass authentication most likely.
Oh my God. Yo, could you do me some favors?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to get a side gig. Could you?
This was like an episode of Law and Order: Criminal Intent where Stephen Colbert played the forger, and he would like forge all these signatures, and at the end he was just like going through all these signatures, like famous people. He was like John Hancock. Well, I don't think it was John Hancock because that would have been hack, but like I don't know, like all these other signatures, and then he was forging his mom.
Elvis Presley right there.
Oh my God.
But the key to it is, did anybody see that Melissa McCarthy movie, Can You Ever Forgive Me?
I did.
She traces using a TV screen as a light box, and that's why she got caught, because her pen pressure is so deliberate. You cannot trace a signature ever. You have to learn the curve of the signature and be able to sign it as naturally as your own name. That's the secret to it.
Oh.
Is that like the big mistake that forgers make, or is there a mistake that's
That's it. That's the absolute. They do it too carefully, too precisely, or they trace it, and you can tell when the pen hit the paper, when it hit it too hard or too lightly. You need to study it, and you need to other examples that are authentic of a signature and their habits that show. Like one favorite example I have is like the Beatles are like a really easy forgery target. If you're looking at Abbey Road, Paul McCartney always signs in the sky. That's it. Paul McCartney always signed there. If you see a Paul McCartney signature anywhere else, most likely a fake. Same with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's a really intricate signature, and he will always sign on the white jacket in Thriller. And people who are doing forgeries, they won't think about that. But he was very, like, I'm not going to speak to his character, but he was good with his autograph.
Thank you for that caveat.
I'm not here to endorse Michael Jackson, except from a collectible standpoint.
Cool. Any other questions about forgery? Crimes that we can do. Any other questions from you guys?
After the show, let's all just stay on the line and plan crimes.
Okay.
Bono. That's Bono right there.
Bono.
Oh, nice.
This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
You should definitely forge Bono's signature because, like, that guy's annoying. Just get back at him.
Yeah, devalue his signature. Flood the market with Bono's signature.
Yes.
So we do have a hard stop because there's a show after us. That said, I'm sure that Josh will not mind if this exact group of people does another show next week in the slot where we can continue exploring. It's so good. Guys, give it up for our experts. Clippity clap, 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 clap. So we actually don't have time for 2 segments. We have time for one more segment, which is fine. I have loved doing the show. This has been amazing. I'm actually going to give the chat the power to decide what segment of the 2 planned we have to do. So we have 2 possible segments we can do next. One is we list our guilty pleasures and we defend them. We defend them on their merits. And the second one is that we are going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, or 3 truths and 1 lie, where 3 of us tell real stories and 1 person lies, and you have to figure out who. So I'm going to look at I'm going to give you guys 20 seconds to tell us which segment you'd rather see. Kit wants to do the truth and the lie. Any other votes? Kit may decide this for everybody.
If you do truth and the lie, I'm just going to tell the truth about my guilty pleasure.
That's hacking it, Justin.
I'll hack it all I want.
No, Josh wants guilty pleasure. So we have truth and a lie. So I think that's the one that we're gonna do, unless somebody ties it up in the next 3, 2, 1. Cool, truth and a lie. So 3 of our panel. Damn it, based Blanquist. We already chose. Cool. So we're gonna do 3 people who tell real stories. 1 person tells a fake story, and then you guys have to guess which one is the fake one, which one is the fakery. So we're gonna go Serpico, you go first.
Sure. So with the theme of replacements, I was once in Las Vegas. My wife and I saw like a David Copperfield magic show, and David Copperfield brought me on stage, me and a few other people. We were all sitting in chairs. He raised the curtain, dropped the curtain a second later, and we had all been replaced by air. So there were 15 of us on stage, and then the curtain came down, and there were 15 empty chairs, and we were like 500 feet away, and it was ridiculous. And so I can say that David Copperfield made me disappear.
Oh my God! And you don't know how he did it?
So we met David Copperfield after the show, and what he said was, "You obviously know how I did this. However, this one trick employs like 15 full-time people. So if anyone asks how I did it, just say that it was very dark and there was a lot of wind, and now here you are." And so that's what I say.
Excellent, John, for keeping those people employed. Give him some snaps.
Like that in the dark with the wind.
Hmm?
Which do you like better, the dark or the wind?
Oh, the wind! It made me feel alive.
Magic! I love it.
Justin, you're next. Tell us a story.
All right, this is super embarrassing to admit, and I've never acknowledged this publicly. But has anybody seen the Fox show The Orville, which is just Seth MacFarlane doing Star Trek?
Yeah.
But
It's just full
without
Star
like
Trek.
should have episode. I'm the guy in the robot suit on The Orville, like consistently. I spent 2 years playing the guy in the robot suit on The Orville. The worst gig of my life. There's not a fan in that suit. The helmet every 30 seconds.
You made John so happy.
Yeah.
You're the most famous person I've ever met.
I've been in actual shit, but that was my most consistent gig. I was in the robot suit for 2 years with poor ventilation. It's made up. What's that Ridley Scott movie that was like the Alien prequel? What's that?
Prometheus?
Yeah, parts of the suit are just reused Prometheus like gear. Like the belt is like from Prometheus. The suit's not made very well. A lot of it is like they made one really nice thing with a fan in it, but then they lost it between seasons. And yeah, just it's really heavy to breathe in. There are straps under the arms that cut off like the circulation, and I had to walk like this, like for like 18 hours. And also, Seth MacFarlane made us like reshoot like every single scene, like even if nobody screwed up, because he didn't like the way that his face looked in shots while reacting to other people speaking. So, I've never acknowledged that publicly. But yeah,
Justin, I believe Sir may be in love with you now. But
robot actor.
thank you for sharing your story.
This has been the greatest 52 minutes of my life.
Oh my god, this is incredible. Verity, you're next.
Well, I was the baby on the Nirvana cover, and no, I'd be like, Betty, what? I was really light-skinned, and then no, that's not okay. Hold on, I just dropped something. Okay, I like politics, so I really wanted to get into political strategy, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I can help with a state legislative race or something like that. But they said the best way to start, you got to do some, really low stakes races. And it turns out college council is a huge deal. So I ended up as a grown woman running the campaign for someone running. I'm from Minneapolis, the University of Minnesota. He was running for student council president of the University of Minnesota. And it's like a mini, like, they're running for governor kind of. But I had a really shitty candidate because it came out that he had been in high school, which obviously college is not that much before. In high school, he had been stealing like office supplies from the faculty lounge and just selling them. Just selling them to students and like selling them at discount. Because obviously you get like a lot of office supplies and they have like a lot of copier paper, and it was a richer area, but like they're not that rich to have their shit stolen. And they also didn't have locks because rich people think they're secure. So they ended up having to drop out of the race, and that's when I was like, I can't do this again. I mean, if I can't deal with a race where they're running for student council and stealing office supplies, I can't deal with bigger scandals. And then I was like, fuck it. And I went into tech. So that's my story.
Thank you, Brandy. An inspiring story of a pivot in interests based on theft. Thank you so much. Now we're up next with Kendra. Tell us a story, Kendra.
All right. So my dad works in the music industry, but he's not like an important person in the music industry. He's like kind of the proletariat, right? Like he does what other people tell him to do. So even he has a Wikipedia page though, but like not a lot of people outside of his what'd you say?
I said, ooh, he's a cleaner.
Oh no, he not a lot of people outside of his field really like know about him. But he's like worked on a lot of albums with like bigger names. One of these names was he did a little bit of work on a Jay-Z album. Actually, he did some work on a few Jay-Z albums. But he like hadn't really met Jay-Z for most of his career. And then one day in Manhattan, Jay-Z and Beyonce walk into his studio to be like, thanks for working on my 7 albums. I guess like very like just like, oh, I'm going to grace you with my presence. Thank you for helping all of my albums. And I'm an only child, so my dad's office or my dad's studio had a lot of baby pictures of me or like pictures of a toddler. And Beyonce was with Jay-Z at this time. I guess this was before he was cheating, right? And they were like still pretty close. So like Beyonce was hanging out with Jay-Z at this time. And it's funny now because like when it happened, Jay-Z was considered the like bigger name, but now we all know it's Beyonce. Like Jay-Z's career is kind of like sundowning, you know? Which is, and it's like, you know what? Beyonce's like young. Let her bring home the bacon. Jay-Z, just sit at home, put a blanket over your lap, and watch reruns of the Golden Girls. Like, you don't need to. Anyway, he's rich. He's fine. But yeah, so there's a lot of pictures. There was a lot of baby pictures of me. And Beyonce looked at one and said, "Oh, who is that? Is that your daughter?" And my dad said, "Yes." And Beyonce said, "Oh, she's cute." So Beyonce thinks I'm fucking cute, motherfuckers. All right. Beyonce thinks I'm cute. And then she gave my family a candy basket because it was around Halloween. So she just like gave us a candy basket.
True story.
And the candy was so good. We had it for like I was still eating that candy for like a year afterward. It was some bomb ass candy.
Was it like fancy rich person candy that no one else could get?
It was like average candy. It was just like, or like it was like accessible candy, but it was a lot of it. Like, you know, it was like top tier accessible candy. It was like quick. Like there was none of that like fucking, I don't know, like there's no bullshit in there. There was none of that like fake like red things. It was like Twix. It was like Hershey's bars.
Wait, so which dad was this? So which disposable dad?
It's my third dad.
Okay.
I had to trade up. My first dad wasn't as fancy, so I kept trading up.
Fair enough.
Yeah, third dad. And my dad now is actually so Justin was like, "Oh, is your dad a cleaner? Is he a janitor?" My dad now is a janitor, but he's chill. My current dad.
No, I meant like,
actually I have 4 dads.
I meant like a cleaner in like the mob / Tarantino sense. Like if there's a problem.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like a fixer. Like we got a car full of blood. What do we do about it?
I thought you meant like her dad like made radio edits. Like her dad just like took all the bleeps out of bad. You know, her dad was responsible for calling it wet and gushy. Like that's her dad's idea.
Like a very underappreciated role in the music industry, but crucially important.
Yeah. Actually, so Justin's right. Actually, one of my dads is in the mob. And but I'm not going to tell you which mob, though.
Oh.
It could be any mob. I'm in Boston. There's like 12 mobs. It could be anyone. You're not going to know.
Is it the Irish mob? Is it the Jewish mob? Is it the mob that all wears Celtics jerseys? Is it the mob that really likes the Esplanade?
I can't say. Three of my 4 dads I have would hate me if I revealed. So,
well, I would hate for 75% of your dads to be mad at you. So, Kendra, thank you for the wonderful story. Guys, I think it's fair to say that even though one of these stories is fake, there's at least one story that is both true and batshit, and I'm really excited to know.
What if we don't say which one is a lie, so that it's like a Schrodinger's lie situation in which we are in a moment where all of them are potentially true, and just Cut the feed. We're done. We're done. We're done. Let's live in a world where all things are possible.
So, Serp, as much as I would love to honor that request, I feel it behooves me as the substitute host for the show to demonstrate a commitment to the original vision of this show.
Fair.
We are going to, first of all, we're going to vote. And feel free, if you're in the chat, feel free to vote for the person you think is lying. And we're just going to go around. You're going to tell us who you think is lying and why. And my mom is going to remember that I do shows by this desktop and not leave her phone. Just one moment.
I trust my friend Comic 1717 to know I'm telling the truth. Absolutely.
I want everyone's stories to be so true. I want that more than anything.
I was Snow Patrol once, but then I changed my mind.
Snow Patrol, of course, an iconic.
I wrote for the reboot in living color that Fox won't let you see.
Guys, I'm back. Have we decided which one's lying? Kendra, who's lying?
Wait, we are supposed to decide?
So we all also guess as well as
cool.
the chat. So
Okay, I think it's Justin. It's Justin.
Why do you think Justin is lying?
Who watches the Orville?
I've never seen it.
Not me.
I watched one episode.
Serp, I believe that cutaway to Serp was meant to show his incitement, but he was just looking off in the corner.
I was on my other screen on IMDb looking up the cast and stunt robots of the Orville.
I worked on Kelly's Dads too. So, like Ken Breeze, I worked on that show. I'm in 10 episodes.
John, close that IMDb page right now.
All right, fine. I just don't want to be fooled.
Find out. Kendra, so you thought you think Justin's lying? Brandy, who do you think's lying?
Well, having met a famous person before and having a story about being a child with famous people, I gotta go with Kendra's story. I just don't buy it. I mean, Jay-Z and Beyonce, no. That's just I just don't buy it.
Do you feel like they would be nicer or like worse?
I just think that like every celebrity has some really weird tick that they do, and I just didn't hear that, and that's it. It was otherwise a believable story.
I see. Kendra, you're not famous enough to approximate famous behavior.
I don't remember this, but like celebrities in general are they have like one weird thing they do all the time. And everyone's like, I remember this weird thing like Beyonce had her finger up her nose. It was weird. She's just famous. Like something like that. And I just didn't hear it.
Cool. So Brandy, you think Kendra's lying. John, who do you think is lying? We know who you hope isn't lying, but who do you think is lying?
I want to live in a world of corrupt Minnesota politics and Beyonce just showing up with candy and a world in which I know a robot. So I vote that I am lying. I may have misremembered my time in Vegas. But maybe I had too many expensive daiquiris before the show. I think I got this one wrong. I vote that it was me.
So just to recap, Kendra thinks it's Justin, Brandy thinks it's Kendra, John thinks it's himself because he wants the other ones to be true so bad, which feels very Serp. And Justin, who do you think is lying?
I think that John is lying. I think that he leaned into the theme of the show and wrote a story around that. I believe
that's so possible.
John was simply trying to be a good teammate here.
Just trying to be a good teammate. So cool. So we have 2 votes for Justin, 1 vote for Kendra, and 2 votes for Serp. I think that's it. I can do math. Cool. So some people think in the chat, some people think John's lying. Some people think John or Kendra, but they'll go with John. Ken says, I love you, Justin. I'm sorry. I don't know if that is him saying he thinks you're lying or he just did. Ken has done something to you that you both know about. Is that you in the suit?
Yep.
Who's lying?
I'm telling the truth.
Who's lying? Raise your hand.
It's me, bitches.
Oh!
You threw me under the bus. We're supposed to support one another on this show.
I have a story I can tell another time about Prince when I was a toddler that my aunt told me, but
Ooh.
the
Oh my
time-
god.
yeah, my aunt dated Jerome from the time for a period of time. So yeah,
This is the best.
that's a true
This
story.
is
I'm not
the
even making it up.
best.
I was a toddler who demanded Prince give me cookies, and then he did. So
I love
yeah.
That's amazing.
That's so good. So here's the thing that just happened. If I knew Justin because I knew who I assigned the liar, and so if I had known Justin was lying, I may have agreed to Serp's terms. In the moment, I may have felt like I may have looked into his pleading eyes and succumbed to his wish for this beautiful version of this. But because I knew Justin was telling the truth, I wanted him to know for sure, and I wanted you to all know that you now officially know the robot from Orville, which Kendra people do watch because Serp's super into it.
Because the
Sorry.
robots, like, it's mainly like it's sometimes the head's to the side. It's wow, what a performance!
So, guys, we need to get off soon. We have a couple more minutes. Final thoughts. What are you taking from this show, from your evening? This time, I won't even assign whose turn it is. Someone just start talking.
I'm sorry that I figured no one watched the Orville. That was very short-sighted of me. Justin, I'm sure you did very important work as a robot.
Another guy
you-
got to for him, you know?
What?
Another guy got to do the talking. I'm just
But still, you were that robot and millions of people watched you, which is more than what I could say for myself. So I will stop offending Hollywood elites before I ruin my career.
I liked how it was like it sounded very genuine, and then at the end, it was just became very like a career move. You're like, for professional reasons, I will no longer insult you or your kind.
I watched the Orville, actually. I was dragging myself. I watch it every night it comes on.
Beautiful.
one more season.
According to Matt, we have 3 more minutes. Who wants to jump in and say something they learned or liked?
I learned that there is so much more to learn about presidential animal situations, and I will consider and research all of these things as I buy new and better cat litter for my cats.
Beautiful. Brandy, what have you learned, or what did you like?
I learned I'm a good liar, so that's good to know.
Brandy, shout out.
What I did is I made my brand just being really deadpan so that it's clear that it's never clear if I'm telling the truth or not, but usually I'm truthful. So, but in a pinch, good to know I can lie if shit goes bad, shit goes sideways.
Yeah. What I did was make my expertise lying to throw people on the trail.
What I learned is that I should stop using a light box for my forgeries. Cut that out. It's not good. They'll figure it out. Guys, I want you all to give it up for at your homes, in your bedroom, wherever you are. Give it up for Kendra. Give it up for Brandy. Give it up for John. Give it up for Justin. If you enjoyed it, there are 2 Venmos on screen. Feel free to demonstrate your enjoyment of the show by participating in involvement in either of those or both of them. My name is Rachel. I've been your substitute host. Interesting Points is on every Tuesday at 9. Yes, that's right. Eastern time. So if you're California, it's different. And also take care of yourselves. Cool. So this has been Interesting Points. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the web. Good night.
Good night. Bye.